Rhonda Draculis here, RK3 Designs, and I'm gonna teach you a super fast, super simple granite using this little bottle and a few cans of spray paint. So what I've done is taken Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy, and I've tinted it very opaquely with the Alumilite dye. And when I say opaque, what I mean by that is I can't see through the material. When I lift it up and I look at my stick, I cannot see the wood grain. So that would be an opaque look. If I tint it and when I lift it, I can still see the wood grain, that's a very transparent. I want it very opaque. So I'm gonna pour this out. When I scrape my edges, I make sure that I don't take that material and put it over here. If I do that, then the material on the side, if it wasn't mixed up well enough, that's gonna leave me a sticky spot. So I really wanna make sure when I empty out my cup that I'm putting that material in the middle. Now that I have the material from the side into the middle, I can take my trowel and I can mix it up one more time so that I'm not gonna have any sticky spots. So I'm gonna bring this one little piece over here and I'm gonna make sure that I've mixed it very well. All right, I'm gonna take it, trowel it out. I'm not gonna push it over the edge quite yet. Now you can also do this with your hand. And those of you that follow me quite a bit know that I use my hands a lot. I like to be able to get my hands so that I can feel underneath the edges and make sure that I'm really getting that material to flow over the edge. Okay, now I'm pushing it very lightly over the edge. Now at this point, you could take a brush and you could chop your area to remove the bubbles and to remove the trowel lines. But I'm gonna use my hand on this. Couple of reasons. Like I said, I really like to be able to fill the edges, get that material to flow. Also, I don't have to worry about bristle hairs coming off, and I don't seem to entrain as many bubbles when I use my hand as I do when I use my brush. So take my hand, take that material, I'm gonna push it over the edge, make sure my edges are fully coated. And I have prepped this sample board by using a router and taking a round over bit and routed out my edges so that they're round. I don't have 90-degree edges because epoxy really doesn't like to flow over 90-degree edges. Almost builds up surface tension and causes a little ledge. So, and like I said, by using my hand, I really don't entrain as many bubbles. Therefore, I don't have to use my torch as much to get those bubbles out. Plus, I just like playing with my hands. How about that? All right. Torch. Now, I have a very basic white base. I could really jazz this up by adding diamond dust to my base, even adding a little bit of metallic white to my base, but I'm starting out with a very basic white finish as my background to get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start out with is the Rust-Oleum Gloss Leather Brown. I really like to use Rust-Oleum. That's really the only paint brand that I use. I seem to have the best results. And if you have a choice, I always buy the gloss. However, some of the colors don't come in gloss. They'll come in a satin, and that is okay as well. However, flat or matte, you want to stay away from. All right, so first of all, I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to just fog the area very lightly, very randomly. And I'm gonna actually bring in on one side of this piece a little bit of gray. Not both sides. I'm gonna let you guys see what it looks like with a little bit of gray in there. So I'm taking Granite, also Rust-Oleum. This is their 2X Ultra Cover Paint and Primer. So you can use this as well. Now this is a satin. I'm gonna just add a little bit of gray on this one area. I don't want a whole bunch of gray there, just a little bit. All right, I'm gonna come in and hit it with some white. Even though we're going over white, I like to add a little more white because it makes it have depth. And now I'm gonna add a little stone gray. Now this is a gray, but it's more of a neutral gray. It's a lighter color gray. And I'm gonna kind of put that all over the piece. And let's see, silver metallic. I wanna add just a little bit of bling bling. So I'm using the bright silver, also from Rust-Oleum. I'm only gonna put a little bit of this, and I'm only gonna put it in certain spots. All right, here we go. Ooh, I like that. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of black as well. I wanna get some real depth in there. And like natural granite, there's multiple colors going on here at one time. Now I'm gonna take Fracture, and I'm using 91% isopropyl alcohol. Now I know you guys are having a really hard time right now finding isopropyl alcohol. You can also use Everclear, which can get really fun by the end of a job. And I have seen people use acetone. I haven't had as much luck with the acetone. It gives me a different effect, but you can definitely use it. So now what I want to do is that I have these color all over my board. I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to pounce, and I'm going to cause some really cool texture. You're like, what in the heck is she doing? I'm just trying to get some really cool texture in the background. Now, at this point, you can decide, let's say that I don't like the amount of color that I have on my board. That's okay. You can just take your paper towel or a shop towel. Shop towel actually works a little bit better. It's a little easier to play with. But then just pinch your towel up like a little rose. And now you can pull material off. But as you pull it off, make sure you change your towel so that it's dry. Now that's only if you have too much color. If you look at it and say, I really have too much color. I really like the amount of color that I have here, so I'm gonna leave it like this. I was just giving you guys an out in case you put too much color on there. I get those questions all the time. What do I do if I put too much color? You take it off. All right, so now I'm gonna re-fracture. Now you see, as we refracture, we're getting a little bit different type of pattern because we've used our hand to pounce it out. Now I'm also going to come in with a little bit bigger drops. I'm putting it in my hand and I'm dropping it. So now I'm going to get an even more pattern variation on here. Okay, that looks way cool. All right, I'm gonna let this set 10 minutes maybe. I want it to start to move. I want to be able to watch the pattern and see what I like. Now, I've had a lot of people text me and say that they need me to put a clock behind me so that when I say it's gonna be about 10 minutes, they can wait 10 minutes. The only problem with that is your environment, your workspace is gonna determine your time that you're gonna wait. We're not so much waiting time, we're waiting for our epoxy to get to a certain stage. What I'm trying to do is get my epoxy to be a little more stringy and set up. instead of so fluid as it is right now. So instead of waiting an exact 10 minutes, I want you guys to wait until your epoxy is at the stage to move to the next step. Okay, so we've waited about 10 minutes. My epoxy is starting to get a little more sticky, and I'm gonna come back and add a few more effects. All right, come back with black, because now I wanna be a little bit more, I guess, artistic about where I'm gonna put my black. And I'm gonna come in with some white also. All I'm doing is layering these looks. Add a little bit of silver. And then I'm gonna fracture one more time. And I am fracturing with plain alcohol. You can absolutely fracture with colored alcohol that's got mica powders in it. Now, because we waited a little bit of time, it's gonna make these fractures actually stay in place a little easier. I want big spots and I want little spots. Now, it's very important not to get too much alcohol on your surface. As I squeeze my alcohol bottle, I'm really barely even squeezing the top. I'm gonna let this set for just a minute. Let that alcohol react, and I'll come back and hit it one more time. Okay, so I really like how this is starting to move, but I do want to get kind of creative, and I'm going to come back now with copper. Some copper? I'm going to come back now with some copper mica powder mixed with 91% isopropyl alcohol. I mix about 1/4 ounce with 8 ounces of alcohol. Again, if you don't have alcohol readily available, try some Everclear. All right, shake it up. Squirt it in my hand. And I'm gonna add a little bit of color now. I'm getting some pretty big size effects. And the colored mica is just adding a little bit of a tint to the top. And I'm gonna spritz very small amounts as well. This is a finish that you have to kind of hurry up and wait. We have to really watch the epoxy, and it's gonna tell us what step to take next. Okay, so I'm really liking how this is giving me a nice, soft granite look. The reason it's soft is because I'm layering the paint. That first background that we did when I pounced my hand made things very soft. Now when I come back with the spray paint over the top of that, I've got a little bit more distinct looks. So it's giving me a softer type of granite. So this is definitely a stage where you could stop and not go to the next step, which I'm gonna go to the next step. Just saying, because that's just who I am. And that's what I do. And I'm gonna use this Montana marble effect. Love, love, love this stuff when I'm trying to create a granite look, because it gives me fracture lines that I can't recreate as naturally as what this does for me like that. So this is kind of like the old-fashioned silly string. Shake it up really well. And then practice off to the side so that you can get an idea of how the pattern is gonna lay out. All right. So I'm gonna come in very lightly at first. And I'm gonna create some distinct lines. I'm just not throwing it all over. I kind of want fracture lines in certain areas. I really like that. Now this is gonna be a choice that's up to you on how much of those fracture lines you really want. I think I'm gonna go a little bit heavier on this. Then again, I'm really kind of hitting this corner down here just because I like that look. All right, pretty cool. Now I'm gonna come in with my black, but I'm not gonna be as heavy on my black because I don't want the black to take over. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of black. Same thing, I'm gonna check my spray pattern. My spray pattern on my black is a little different than my white. So it's broader. So I'm gonna kind of step back a little bit. There. I like that. Ooh, I like that a lot. I think the AC also caught it when I did it. I saw it kind of move. I really like that because it gives me some real geometrical, I guess, visions that I'm able to see my eye catches it. Instead of just putting it all over, I just put it very few places. So now my eye really kind of goes to that. I'm gonna one more time because my paint is starting to kind of fill in a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and re-granify just a few spots. All right. I love this. I love that it's very soft in areas. In some areas, it's very distinct, very hard granite. Look. Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I love this. This would be really, really easy finish to do in your kitchen, any colors. If you didn't want to use your browns, you could come in and do the exact same technique, but use grays. That way you've got more of a gray granite. You can use tans, lighter color browns. You can just customize this so many ways. Plus it's fast. If I have to get in and get out, this is definitely a finish that I would run to. Very easy to do it over existing countertops if you don't want to custom build your countertops, a piece of furniture. Very, very array of way to use this finish. Guys, if you like this finish, let me know. Give me a thumbs up and hit the bell and subscribe to our channel. That way that you know when we have future tutorials. Guys, visit our website, rk3designs.com. We have a great lineup of hands-on classes, both group and private. We also have a great online course, very detailed. Go to onlineepoxypro.com. Check us out. So leave me some comments. I would love to get your feedback, maybe some colors that you would use. Would you stop a couple of steps back? Would you have used the Montana marble spray? Let me know. I love hearing your comments. So remember guys, don't be scared. Move forward and be creative.